Look at that. Wow. Welcome. Hi, everybody. Oh, my goodness. Oh, hello. Hi.
Hello.
Welcome. This is another episode of The Ramble presents
Yes.
Good Willow Hunting.
That's what it does.
This is a show where we, The Ramble, Eddie and I of The Ramble. Cody, please say hello.
Say hello.
There's Cody.
Cody.
Hi.
Hi, it's Cody.
How are you guys doing?
Good. We're doing great,
wonderful.
Cody. Thank
Very,
you.
very
How
well.
are you?
Good.
How are you?
Yeah, doing pretty well. You know,
Right.
just kind of hanging out on
Sure.
this. Well, this is being released on a Thursday.
On a
so-
Thursday, yeah.
On a Thursday, yeah.
Yeah, we're here. What we do in this show is Eddie and I get Cody to watch movies he's never seen.
Right.
Because we want
Right.
him to be taken seriously as a
As
critic.
a critic.
To a bunch of people who think you have to have seen
See certain movies. to be a
certain
critic.
movies to be a critic, like the G.I. Joe animated film
Or Transformers
the
animated film.
Transformers animated film.
Any number of animated
Any
films.
number of animated
And I'm
films.
not legitimate until I see them.
Yeah, so this is
true.
our journey.
This is your climb to legitimacy.
Yeah, and we are. Is this the first sequel we've done? The first movie and then sequel?
I think so.
I think
it is.
In the same series, we've done a sequel.
We've done-
Right.
Yes. But this is the first time we've gone from one film
Yeah.
to one of its sequels.
And
We're gearing up to doing like actual in order sequels. Like,
yeah, wait,
at some point.
we're gonna get there. We're gonna do 1 and 2.
There's
at some
rumors
point.
of RoboCop and RoboCop 2.
That
which
could
is
happen.
insane.
That could happen for the next. But Cody, can you check and see how accessible RoboCop 2 is? I know RoboCop 1, but if RoboCop 2 is going to be a chore to find, we might need to do something else
Let's see
instead
here.
of. And while Cody's doing that, I'm going to read a quick email
Yes.
from Dustin Jacobs,
Dustin Jacobs.
a Rambler, who wanted to talk about The Exorcist.
Well, I know Justin.
Yes.
Dustin, he directed my comedy special.
Favorite film?
I believe it is his favorite film.
Cody
In
doesn't
fact,
get it.
When we recorded The Exorcist, when we recorded my
The
comedy
unspecial.
special in DC, we had to visit the stairs of
He
The Exorcist.
mentions this.
Yes.
He took pictures because Cody doesn't get it. That's fine. I question his taste and his ability to review films. But
Can I
that's
can I
fine.
just say something here?
You like
Why-
the movie?
Why is it that I have to come all over these
Right,
movies in
yeah.
order for me to like them?
You liked it.
I liked it. It's
I don't
good.
understand. What does it mean? Doesn't
These-
get it?
It's like Jesus Christ, man.
Cody, we need a video of you fucking the
No,
case
I
that
think
the
his
Blu-ray
rating
came
system
in.
should be cum splotches.
Yeah, cum splot. Maybe we change that. That's,
Cody gives this film 4 cum splotches.
He mentions that when he directed the unspecial, he took Eddie there for cum splotches. My story with the film's not like Jerry's in the sense that the film didn't necessarily scare me when I watched it the first time. The film came out in 1973, and I came out 11 years later. I wasn't brought up Catholic, so the idea of popes in the Vatican and preached somewhat lost on me. Not to mention the child molestation ring of it all. Where's the QAnon with that shit? They do, however, provide great imagery. The film is a visual medium. There's a ton of symbolism in Catholicism. When he was younger, he was subjected to horror films on a semi-regular basis. His sister was 10 years older than me. My mom loves him. Grew up on Hitchcock's. Never stood a chance, really. I can't remember watching the Amityville Horror, more importantly, Part 2, The Possession, when I was south of 10. Amityville Horror didn't have the impact on me the sequel did, simply because the one film was about a haunted house, and it was about a possessed son who kills his whole family. To top it off, the demon wins in the end as the son dies and the priest becomes possessed. That was my introduction to the idea of demon possession. But isn't that what Amityville Horror is actually based on, right? Because I think in real life, a
Someone
son murdered his whole
murders the
family
family.
in that house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Needless to say, when I found out the Exorcist existed, I wanted to know part of it. I was told it was the scariest movies ever without being possessed by Satan. No fucking thank you. And was about being possessed by Satan. Eventually, my balls dropped. I turned 13. The year was 99. Exorcist being re-released as the 25th anniversary director's cut. I went with my childhood friend, and I thought to myself, well, this isn't so bad. Then I attempted to sleep alone in my room, just like Reagan. Didn't work out so well for at least a month or so. The image flash of the demon is so incredibly effective. Goddamn Friedkin. The thing that's so fucked up about it is the Exorcist, how random it is. 2 atheists living in an unhaunted house and proof that the daughter is now Satan. There's a subtle wink and nod to Captain Howdy after a Ouija board incident, but otherwise it's an RKO out of hell. When you dip into the psychology of the movie, what you really have is the idea of control and how it's an illusion. I have that problem. I think directing gives me control, the control I seek over my environment, when in reality people could just leave me there and it could just leave and I'd be there with my hand on my dick. Louis C.K. was onto something. No, he wasn't. Even if money is involved, you can't really control other people or the environment you live in. Look at 2020, for instance. You might catch COVID even if you do all the right things. The unwavering 40% who are going to vote for Trump no matter what. Oh, and the world is on fire. It's scary, really. I think people can lean on religion for these reasons. If they can't control it, they need a superhero to do it for them. That's why the MCU is popular. It's not escapism it's not just escapism from a shitty reality. It's the idea that even in the shitty reality, everything's going to be okay. We're all Father Karras every single fucking day of our lives. We make the choice to take a leap or not. What that leap entails is up to the individual. And honestly, that you're not safe from anything theme very much carries over in Exorcist 3.
Exorcist 3 has that big time.
In regards to Kubrick being a prick, and he was, you can possibly measure him to Kubrick, who was also terrible to actors. Did Kubrick break someone's back or slap them? No. However, for a guy who made a film about white male entitlements and systemic racism in The Shining, Kubrick sure liked torturing the one woman and the one black man on set. The Shining is about being woke. The young boy is woke, as the youth tend to be, and of course the black character is woke, having lived a life of oppression. Did I mention the Native American Deus Ex Machina? How does one make up for a Native American genocide? The blood in the elevator, the chants, the symbolism in so many different frames. But by leaving the property, of course, unfortunately we're lost in a maze of our own design, doomed to spin in circles, freeze, and ultimately going nowhere. Kubrick is Jack in the movie, much like King is Jack in the book. Two completely different human beings who crave control on their own level. Side note, Eyes Wide Shut is about Kubrick's marriage. Stanley wanted to fuck other people but couldn't go through with it. Meanwhile, I'm convinced his wife probably gave him the Nicole Kidman I want to fuck a sailor speech. It's also a Christmas movie. Do that what you will. Eyes Wide Shut. I don't know about that.
I don't know about that. But.
And he goes, possession films to watch, Paranormal Activity. I hated that one. He says, if you hate found footage films, you'll hate this. I love both. Exorcism of Emily Rose. It's great. It's got great actors treating an exorcism gone wrong in a courtroom setting. Hereditary. Boy, I hated that movie too. Annabelle Creation. Please note, it's not Annabelle, which sucked. Annabelle Comes Home, which has a fun 70s Saturday matinee vibe. This is the horror film, my favorite Conjuring universe film by far. And The Witch. It's amazing. That's all. Well, there you go. Thank you, Dustin.
Thanks, Dustin.
For chiming in. Now, let's dive in. First off, go to hempvita.com. That's up there, right?
Here.
Bam.
Bam.
You know what hempvita.com does?
What?
Sponsors a ramble.
Shut up.
You know what they give you?
What?
CBD oil that you can go buy.
Get out.
Right. And you think, okay, cool, CBD oil.
Right.
Like we've all been there.
Everybody has,
Everyone's but this
It's
is
the world we're in now.
This ain't your daddy's CBD
It's
oil.
not?
These ain't your daddy's CBD products.
Why do you say such things?
Well, because all the products, the tinctures, the gummies, the vape juice, the vape pods, the pet products, and the lotions use broad spectrum CBD
The
oil.
broadest.
No THC, the broadest. The broadest. They're the combustible ones.
Yeah.
You must think, okay,
Oh,
the
they gotta
flowers
have
and
at
the
least
pre-rolls.
like 0.5%.
I was thinking like 80% THC. 0.3%.
0.3.
How about that?
Wow.
Are you sold?
I was sold before you started.
Okay, you ready for this?
Yeah.
Is Hacksaw Jim Duggan here?
Let me check.
Okay.
Oh, there he is.
Okay, all the Hempvita, they only use industrial hemp grown in the
USA.
It's organic with no GMOs.
Tough guy.
The CBD is legal and will not get you high. All of Hempvita's products meet the 2018 Farm Bill, which now Cody earlier alluded to. Do I have to come all over these movies to like them? But
Yes.
something we all come all over is that 2018 Farm Bill, right? That was signed into law December.
I think the Jizz guys talked about that.
Oh boy, man!
Yesterday's
Signed into law December 2018, effectively legalizing hemp at the federal level by removing it from the federal list of controlled substances and classifying it as an agricultural commodity. That's it.
That's
You're
it.
in.
You're done.
You go to
The card is
hempvita.com.
full. I'm typing in my credit card
Right.
info right
Wait
now.
1 second.
Before I
you
hit
type
send?
in Ramble, RAMBLE, 15% off.
What?
Boom.
What?
Who says no to that?
Wow.
Wow. So hempvita.com. Go check them out. And without any further ado, we present to you Good Willow Hunting, The Exorcist
3.
3. Cody! Your first time?
Yeah.
This is interesting. You didn't have to wait 15 years like the rest of the world. You
No,
just
I
dove
didn't.
You saw Exorcist 1 like a week ago, and then you dive into part 3. Now, part 3 pretends part 2 never happened, which is a good thing. There's no mention, no nothing. It just dives right in. Cody, your thoughts on The Exorcist Part 3.
Well, we'll see, because apparently there's 2 grades I can give: A++ or I hate it.
Or 5 spooges.
Or 5 splooges. Nothing more than a five money shots on the face of William Peter Blatty for writing and directing this movie.
So, I think the movie is okay. I think that the first thing that was apparent to me was that there's going to be a lot of talking, and specifically a lot of monologues.
It is.
And I knew that from the moment we got the carp monologue in the restaurant.
That could have been a quick, her mom's got this carp. I just want to shoot the fucking thing.
Right.
That's it.
That was the longest monologue for the least essential story I've heard in a long time.
But it sets up his character of being this guy who's literally on the verge of breaking down.
That's true.
Sure, there's a more efficient way to get there,
There
I
is.
think.
Yeah.
Because every monologue is
with
a
less
meal.
close-ups.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that the film, the other note that I made is that it's very, well, I mean, other than I should point out, because it's a big thing, is that it feels really written. It feels, and you can tell like the novelist is the person writing the script.
Writing and directing it. So there was no one telling him, hey, could you cut that line out? Like,
there's no editing whatsoever.
Right.
So it sometimes works, which I'll get to in a minute, but But the movie is also strangely edited. I really noticed that there's a lot of really quick cuts that happen when I think some stuff would have been better with room to breathe. Like a scene will just kind of end with a really quick cut instead of like letting the suspicion or whatever linger.
To your point, my favorite scene in the film is, I think, my favorite jump scare in any movie, and boy, does that scene breathe.
Yeah.
That's that static shot when the nurse is walking and the cops leave, and then the fucking dude with the fucking scissors just comes. Like, that was but that scene takes its time.
Yeah.
There's no quick cuts. That was done, I thought,
there's
fantastic.
quick cuts, and then on the opposite end of that, there are these long static shots.
Yes.
That just sit forever,
And it's unnerving. Like, and I love that.
The camera doesn't move hardly at all. I mean, outside of just editing the camera, there's not a lot of tracking shots or pans or dolly shot. It's very static, and you feel very trapped.
Yeah.
All the time watching this film.
I think I think it's a very unnerving movie. I don't think it's better than the first one.
For that,
obviously.
visually, it's an unnerving movie because you feel constantly trapped in everything. You can't get out of anything.
You're like, fuck, I'm still in this fucking hospital.
You're like, move the camera, do something.
Yes, but that scene with the nurse, it just builds and builds, and then fuck, when that thing just runs out and chops her head off, you're like, oh, okay, got it.
But I think that those were effective devices used to make the audience feel trapped and off kilter a little bit, just because you felt like everything was static, and I can't get out of this.
Yes, it is. It is. I'll tell you, the one thing that was the most dated in any Exorcist movie was the statue of Christ having his eyes open up.
Yeah,
that was just like,
that was a little much.
That was dumb. Like,
you didn't think that Fabio and Patrick Ewing was more dated than that?
Oh, let's okay. Can we get into this?
Christ, C. Everett Koop, the Surgeon
C. Everett Koop, the Surgeon General. Larry King at the table at the restaurant.
John Thompson.
Did you see that scene, Cody? There's a scene where they're when the priest, the priest. Okay, to those, I'm sure Cody knows this, but to those who haven't seen the film, spoilers. But in Exorcist III, the main character is the cop who was the friend of Dr. Karras in the first film, who's obviously a different actor because that actor died in the 70s. Yeah. So it was George C. Scott, who, by the way, we completely missed him on the Takes Massive Room Clearing Dumps Hall of Fame. There's no way.
He should be in the conversation with Ernest Borgnine.
Yes. L. Ron Hubbard.
And L. Ron Hubbard.
He should be right there. But and then the priest, who was played by a real priest in real life that William Friedkin slapped to get the reaction out of him, he is now one of the characters. But in that scene where that priest is at dinner, he's having lunch with another priest, Cody. Mm-hmm. If you look in the background, Coach John Thompson of the Georgetown Hoyas, for no reason.
I wish he had his white towel over his
I wish he had the towel, but the coach is just wild. I'm like, and I was like, I looked, because Eddie and I saw it together, like, that's Coach Thompson. Like, holy shit. And sure enough, we rewound it, and it's coached in no dialogue. But they just let you know it's just
in Georgetown.
It's a Georgetown celebrity bonanza, that film.
Well, because I was, from the moment, I knew Ewing was in it.
Right.
That was weird to begin with.
And Ewing is dealing out tarot cards.
And then you have John Thompson. At this point, I'm looking, because I grew up in that area.
Right.
And I'm just looking for any local celebrities that could possibly be popping up in this film.
Right.
Because that's usually probably what happened.
The Nate's Pizza guy.
I was looking for George Michael from the Sports Machine. I was looking for everything to pop up.
Like, it was so... the Patrick Ewing cameo is one of the most what is happening right now. And Samuel L. Jackson you see him? He's in that same dream. He's the blind guy sitting down on a chair with the cane. And I was like, holy shit. And then, of course, Fabio.
Was that before Coming to America or after?
I think it was after.
Had to have been after, I think.
Coming to America's 80s. Exorcist was 90s.
Right. Why would he take such a small, tiny...
I don't know. It's weird, right? But there
weird.
he was. And then, of course, Patrick Ewing just dealing out tarot cards as the Angel of Death, I guess.
I don't know.
That's what he's credited as, Angel of Death.
Yeah, Patrick Ewing, the Angel of Death.
Yeah.
And we're already like 7 years into his NBA playing career.
Yeah, this is 1990.
Very weird. That was very weird.
Yeah. So I think so I was talking about monologues and how there's a lot of them, and I think when you start getting to the Brad Dourif stuff, it gets better.
Yes,
and I think he is really good.
Oh my God!
I don't know that the monologue. I think there's maybe too much of it. Like his first monologue feels like it's like 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
And he's really great at delivering it.
Yeah, he's great at it. He's got a lot to chew on.
Yeah, he does. But it's just it's a little exhausting.
Yeah.
Yes, it gets old. Like, they only needed one. right? Like they need it like and I thought the and the shorter the monologue, the sweeter too, because like I thought one of the best monologues is the one George C. Scott gives at the end when he's pinned up against the wall. It's like, I believe in hate.
Yeah.
I believe, like that was great.
That's what he says every time he takes a dump.
Yeah. I believe in you. I believe in anger. I believe in weakness. I believe in. And also, one thing that's odd is how George C. Scott is a complete piece of shit to certain characters, but then Eddie pointed out that woman who bumps into him in the church and gets the jump scare, he doesn't say anything. But to the other was like, get out of here! Like to the nurse, get out of my face!
Or that one old lady comes up and touches his arm in the mental ward.
Right.
She's like, are you my son? Or something like that.
Right,
He's like,
right.
oh, no,
I'm not your
like
son.
To be,
Yeah, I'd like to be. Get out of my face, you old cunt! Like, I'm waiting for that. Like, it was...
so on edge.
Very on edge. It was, it just...
But it's kind of unfortunate because if you look aside from George C. Scott and Brad Dourif, I think most everyone else in this movie is not a good actor.
It's weird. Like it is strange, right? Like there's and then
the nurse is terrible.
Oh, the angry nurse lady.
But
yeah,
I think a lot might come from how the film is directed. It's the director's not helping out these actors much. He's just sort of setting his camera statically and going, here, act. And if you're not a great actor with George C. Scott, he's going to bury you in every scene.
Yeah, it's over. It's like
so there's no cutting. There's no way to like, sort of work around someone who's not a great actor.
And Friedkin was supposed to direct this like in the early '80s.
Yeah.
But he disagreed with Blatty over the ending of some of the film, and they didn't do it. And also, apparently, Blatty did not. There was no exorcism in his novel that this is based on.
Right.
And the studio was like, "Look, if it's going to be,
The Exorcist.
if you're making a sequel to The Exorcist, we're going to have to." So the priest was completely added. They had to add the priest character, and that's another problem I have with the movie is the priest character, Cody, just kind of comes out of nowhere, doesn't he? You're just like, wait, who the fucking what? Like some guy, and I mean but one thing I love about the movie though is every static shot is pretty unnerving and creepy.
Yeah,
like they make that priest's little apartment look scary and weird.
It also, I think, does some disservice because the whole time you're seeing like the few moments you get to see the priest in the film, it's like you don't know where he's coming from.
Right. You don't know.
You don't know if the devil's working through him.
Right.
You don't know if he's going to be the guy that's possessed. And when he shows up at the end, you're like, is this guy coming to do the bidding?
Right.
It
made
almost no sense until he actually opens up the Bible and starts throwing the holy water on.
You're like, he's a good guy. Like that. Right. When you see the psych ward lady that was possessed.
Yeah.
When she collapses, and then you see Jason Miller's eyes go yellow, and then like, okay, it was like the showdown again.
Yeah.
But it would have been better if they had a little bit more on that. If they're gonna tack that on, maybe add a little bit more backstory. Maybe open with that priest performing an exorcism somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like,
or just throw him in some of the other scenes with maybe George C. Scott knows him. Something.
Right.
There's something there.
And how weird was it that spoilers, but that priest. Was that one of the great? If you think the Patriots coming back 28-3 was a comeback, that guy had half of his brain stuck to a ceiling, and he's able to pull it together.
And he must have
to save the day.
One more 2-minute drive.
Yeah,
he pulls it off.
He gets that fucking
no timeout.
A Brady-esque performance.
Right, that was just insane. Like, whoa, fuck! Look at this guy. God.
So let me tell you what I think is the biggest problem with the movie. So. I was surprised to see that it's a serial killer movie. It's not an exorcism movie or a horror movie almost in that regard. And I think the idea of it is not terrible. Like the idea there's, a serial killer who was dead and then repossessed by someone who and then like kind of committing murders from there. Here's the problem is that if this were something on its own, not related to the Exorcist universe, it would have been a lot better for me because I think that once you put it in this Exorcist universe and have it as a sequel, it starts to not track.
Yeah.
Because in the first film, there's nothing to do with like murdering people or being a serial killer or anything like that. It's just a possession. Yeah. And now you're taking it to this next step where this same entity is having people get
Gemini
killed.
Killer.
That
wants
serial
to be
killer
known as the Gemini
killer. And I think the only people that get killed in The Exorcist is just Burke, the director, right? Yeah. Like, and that again, it's not a serial killer thing. It's just whatever demon or devil is just fucking with the mom. Like, here, I'm going to kill your friend.
It's not out to kill. In
right.
The Exorcist.
It's just out to shatter people's faith.
Yeah.
That's all it's there to do.
Kill and wants credit for it.
Yes. It was very. Oh, we lost Cody's camera.
Is Cody
Cody, can you hear us?
Did Cody get killed?
Cody?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. All right.
Now you're a disembodied voice.
Now that's even creepier. But you're right. Like, there's no. It would have been better had it been a stand, because didn't they even do this with a Denzel Washington movie where there was like a serial killer that would jump and possess different people?
And he, in order to kill the spirit, he took himself out to the middle of nowhere to off himself.
Yes.
I think that's what it was called.
Yeah. I remember that. But that would have been, like, it would have made more sense. Or, like, again, and that's why they had to throw those monologues, because you have this 45 minutes of Brad Dourif explaining that when he got electrocuted,
the one that possessed Dourif in this film is not the same demon.
No, it's working for
It's working for him. So this one wants credit. So I mean, in that way, it's sort of like, it's not the demon, it's not the devil from The Exorcist. She does show up at the end.
But my question is, what happened to Father Care? Was there no funeral for him in the first movie? They didn't like notice that his body got up and walked.
They said
out.
They buried him.
They did.
He dug out of.
He dug out. That's right. Okay.
He dug out of the coffin.
That's right. Okay. All right. That's Jesus. I forgot about that.
They
so that
leave him
makes
on the sidewalk.
It's possessed and
whatever.
Like whatever. And it's So I mean, that was. I think I agree with Cody. It would have been a more interesting, just standalone. Or a serial, almost like Child's Play, but instead of a doll, it's just possessing other people, like, to do it. But that was maybe I should see that Denzel. I don't know if that was good or not. I don't know if I saw that.
Who else is in that one?
John Goodman.
The
devil the spirit keeps singing the time.
Yeah. That was like 90.
That was
like 98.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I forgot what that was called.
But it's. What'd you like about the movie?
Well, I think that again, some of the writing is good, and I think it's best when it's in small doses.
Yes.
But in small doses, it's good. I think the performances from George C. Scott and Brad Dourif are really solid.
And Jason Miller's good too. I mean, he's only in it for a little bit, but it's like it was cool to see him kind of, just instead. And I like how he played Karras as just a shell of Karras. Yeah. It's just a husk, and then finally at the end, Yeah, I like that too.
And I think the serial killer element is actually pretty interesting. Yeah. It feels very Silence of the Lambs at times, especially when Dourif is on screen.
Yep.
I actually think that the third act of the movie with the exorcism is the worst part of the movie, and it lost me a little bit.
I didn't like it. The only thing I liked about the third act was what's his face, George C. Scott's monologue. Yeah. I believe in that was great. It's almost as if they were making a movie and they're like, oh shit, it's an Exorcist movie. We need to have an exorcism.
But that could be the feel from the studio coming and going.
That's what it was, because Blatty had to shoehorn that in.
It could have been a much different film had there been no exorcism.
Blatty was very upset about that. He said I had to make it work because they said we need an exorcism. So I was like, okay, well shit, how do we? They had to throw that in at the last minute.
Because it does feel very weird there at the end.
Yeah, and you're right. You feel it. You can tell that it's tacked on. It feels like a reshoot or something.
Yeah, and it was a reshoot. It was like, oh wait, we have to do this, because I believe in the novel that he wrote, it ends. I haven't read it, but what I gathered was Karras is able to reclaim enough of himself. He's able to fight it off himself, and then he just has George C. Scott shoot him,
right?
And that's how it ends.
And either way, I don't know how George C. Scott walks away from this. And is a free man at the end of the
movie. He put 8 bullets in a guy, and there's a dead priest on the ground in a psych ward.
And he's just supposed to walk out of there like, hey, guys, you're not going to believe this.
I'm not writing any report. Okay.
I don't believe in report.
We're not calling anything in. It's over.
Because he was standing there at the funeral at the end. I'm like, how is he a free man? How is Internal Affairs not all over this?
There's a priest who has all the skin off his back is gone.
And half
of it on the ceiling. Half his face is ripped off.
The other guy's got 8 bullet holes, and then there's basically an execution style shot at the end. I'm like, how is he walking away from this?
Eddie also had a good point of George C. Scott at times is a great detective, at times not at all, because the
fact he does 0 detective work in this movie,
yeah,
outside of the fingerprints on the confession booth, is the only amount of detective work he does.
Now, I thought that was the creepiest scene in the movie, besides the jump scare with the scissors, is the confession booth murder.
Yeah.
I thought that was. I love the fact that there's no special effects. It's just a creepy fucking voice that you can't see
Yeah.
coming from the other end of the confession booth. I thought that was really very effectively creepy. And again, I thought the static shots were all creepy as shit. I like how they just either designed or found the scariest rooms in any
Visually,
church.
it's effective for maximizing the building tension
Yeah,
and making
yeah.
you feel just off.
Yes,
Visually, it works.
it's great. And that nightmare scene with
the nightmare scene is so fucking weird.
It's one of the weirdest because it's like I thought there's some elements that are extremely creepy in it, like those weird ladies who are playing instruments, like way too much makeup and like having those creepy
There's
smiles.
weird elements, and then you have Patrick Ewing.
And then you have
and
Patrick
Angel
Ewing
Wings,
dealing out tarot cards.
and I'm completely pulled out of it.
Right, and Fabio just staring at. I mean, of course, no one knew who Fabio was back then, but like still, I was like, hey, that's a guy from.
But everybody knew who Patrick Ewing was.
Everyone knew who Patrick Ewing was. Everybody, and just to have Patrick
he was an
Ewing,
NBA All-Star in 1990.
He
I
was-
get John Thompson in the background walking on campus. Throw Ewing doing that.
right,
Don't make him where you put the camera on him as the angel of death.
and that cameo hangs. Like you're
A long
expecting
time.
dialogue for how long the
Because
camera
what's his
stays
face
on
says,
you.
"I'm not dreaming.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not dreaming," or whatever,
not
and then
dreaming.
it cuts to just Patrick Ewing.
Patrick
for
Ewing.
40 seconds of just.
dealing tarot cards and just staring. Made no sense. It made my theory, Cody, was that John Thompson and Patrick Ewing read for the two leads. But they were like, look, we want to give him something.
You guys did really well.
I think it would have been better if Patrick Ewing had been George C. Scott and John Thompson had been Brad Dourif. Coach John Thompson.
So
was
are we
Brad
actually going to make trades within the same movie?
Oh man,
God,
I forgot about the trades.
We got to do. No, I think Patrick Ewing is Burke, the director in Exorcist I. I think that's a trade you make. You have Burke as the angel of death, and you have Patrick Ewing deliver the line. Do you know what she did? Your cunting daughter. I think that's the trade.
You don't want to see John Thompson deliver that line?
Ah, shit, that's tough.
Thanks, seeing John Thompson
Okay,
delivering that line.
wait a minute.
Your
Wait,
cunting
time
daughter.
out. Do you have Linda Blair just walk in the background in Exorcist III and John Thompson play the girl who's like Coach John Thompson saying you're all going to die up there and just pissing on the floor? Or is that C. Everett Koop? Does he do? I mean, there's so many
So much
trades.
to pull from. Larry King is in there.
You have the 5 seconds of Larry King. How does Larry King get 2 seconds with no dialogue and Patrick Ewing gets 45? I don't get that either.
You
Like,
can't have Larry King sitting there as the angel of death.
I don't know. Do we trade with it or with that man? It's, what I would have loved if. Let's trade directors. I would have loved to have seen a documentary background footage if they trade directors, and Patrick Ewing wasn't giving the performance Friedkin wanted, so he slapped Patrick Ewing across the face just to see William Friedkin get the living shit kicked out of him by Patrick Ewing. I mean, that would have been.
He would have murdered him. Could you? First of all, you'd have to jump up to slap him.
Snaps up and slaps him. And then Patrick Ewing, just like Predator with Schwarzenegger, grabs him by the neck, and just lifts him up, and then just throws him. I don't know. Cody, would you have made that trade, director trade? Have Friedkin? Because,
Yeah.
if you keep the same script, Blatty can direct creepy shit. He did good with the creepy stuff.
Yeah.
So he probably could have handled Exorcist I. It would have been a worse movie, but I think it still would have been as effective. But I think Part 3 needed Friedkin to kind of handle more of the acting, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then
There needed more help with some of the performances.
and then to slap Patrick Ewing
Yeah.
and just to see Friedkin get the fuck knocked out of him.
or maybe him go, "Why is Patrick Ewing in this fucking movie?
why is Patrick Ewing as the angel?
This makes no goddamn sense." To have a featured Patrick Ewing in this movie.
Does it make it worse? Does it make Part 1 worse if when Reagan has a crucifix is going to let Jesus fuck you, let Jesus fuck you, let him fuck you,
Yeah.
and then you do the close up and on the crucifix Jesus opens up his eyes. It's like, what's going on? What are they doing to me? Like, would that have
Fucking turns into a robot chicken episode.
been more effective if Christ were like, what's happening?
Come on, no. I'm tied up here. Leave me alone.
Oh man, so, Cody, what is your grade for The Exorcist III?
Oh, I would probably give it a C plus.
C+.
It would be not terrible, but also not really enough.
Don't
to
run out and
recommend it.
see it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Eddie.
It didn't hit me the way Exorcist did.
No,
at all.
no.
Exorcist is a far superior film, and I
Yes.
think I gave that a B plus.
Right,
So,
right.
Just comparing the two, there was elements of this that were very fucking creepy. Like I
Right.
said, with the way he had held the static shots and
Yeah.
really made you
Yep.
feel trapped in this film. There were some good moments, but I would say C.
Since I gave Exorcist an A, I'm going to give it the highest of the room and give it a B minus.
Okay.
That's my score for because yes, there's a lot of like why is this happening? Like,
I mean, Ewing takes it down half a grade.
he really does. He really.
Just on its own. Like, if you take Ewing out, I give it a C+.
And Brad Dourif was pissed about the tacked on exorcism. He was like, it was this movie, and there's a director's cut out there, but they haven't been able to make it.
It's his Silence of the Lambs, basically.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what it is.
And he was pissed. He said it went from a really good film to a very mediocre one when they tacked on the exorcism. And the Blu-ray I have has a director's cut, but it's got unused footage and stuff, so it's not the same. It's not going to have any, but so okay, we're doing Have we decided what we're doing with RoboCop, Cody?
No, 2 is on Amazon, but I get the feeling that that's not going to be very fun.
2 okay, here's how bad RoboCop 2 is. RoboCop 3 is a better movie than RoboCop 2.
Wow, you're saying that.
Yeah, so then maybe we shouldn't do
What
that.
about now we're talking Lecter. Have you seen Manhunter, Cody?
I haven't seen Manhunter.
Do we go Michael Mann?
No, you do Manhunter.
RoboCop and Manhunter? Is that that's going to be a tough trade. That's
We're not
going to
try to do any sort of holiday theme Thanksgiving.
What is There's no Thanksgiving movie that we haven't all already seen. They've made one. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is it, isn't it?
I'm going to do a quick search to see if there's any Thanksgiving
Ed
movies that
Begley,
exist.
Ed O'Neill movie, Dutch. Wasn't that a
I never
Thanksgiving?
saw Dutch.
Thanksgiving
Was Uncle
movie?
Buck Thanksgiving?
We can do Uncle Buck.
Was that Thanksgiving?
I don't know if it was
then?
Thanksgiving.
RoboCop and Uncle Buck? Is that where?
John Candy is RoboCop?
That kind of kills it, I think. It lets what? Does anything even come up when you say or do we do Charlie Brown's Thanksgiving special? I mean that and
I think we should save the holiday for Christmas because there's not a lot of Thanksgiving movies.
There's not
really.
a lot of
and
magic.
if you cover Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, it's not going to get better than that.
No, that's it. That's the peak. Manhunter, Cody, would you watch Manhunter?
I can watch Manhunter.
All right, let's do that.
You've seen it?
Yeah.
No. All right. So we'll do RoboCop and Manhunter.
Okay.
That's exciting. Look
Good
at
time.
that. And so thank you for
Thank
tuning
you.
in. You know where to find
Yeah,
us.
you
Come
do.
and find us. We love you all. Thank you for tuning in. Go to hempvita.com. Use Ramble as your keyword to get 15% off. Thank you, Dustin, for the Exorcist Love email. We
Yes.
appreciate that. And there we go. And Willow, ever so closer now, isn't it? It
So
gets
close.
every
One
week.
movie closer.
It gets ever so closer.
Well, and now that I've seen Exorcist 3, Willow will make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, it's gonna be
It's all part of the Willowverse.
It's all part of the Willowverse. You're gonna get. It's gonna make so much sense. RoboCop and Manhunter.
Oh,
This is gonna be. Or do we do the GI Joe movie in RoboCop?
Ooh, I wouldn't mind G.I. Joe.
Cody, have you seen the GI Joe animated movie? Let's save Manhunter. Let's
yeah.
shelve Manhunter.
Let's do G.I. Joe animated film.
GI Joe animated film.
And
Robo.
RoboCop.
Cody, you can do this. Let's do this.
All
GI. Wait, what do we do first? GI Joe or RoboCop?
Oh God.
Cody, your call. You have to call this. GI Joe
Oh,
or
fuck.
RoboCop? The GI Joe animated film.
Let's do. Oh man, let's just do GI Joe. Let's just get it over.
All right,
with.
G.I. Joe,
Yo,
the animated
Joe.
movie. Yo, Joe! And then RoboCop. You know what I think the big trade is? The opening sequence in G.I. Joe, the movie. You put that in RoboCop. I think that the song at the beginning. How is RoboCop not enhanced by that? You tell me. We will see you next week, Goodwill Hunting, G.I. Joe, the movie. And then the week after that, RoboCop. Take care. We love you all. Bye.